Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Live from Harlem in New York. Hey, this is Alex Bennett. See, it says Alex, so it must be Alex Bennett. This is the Ramble, and we go until midnight tonight from the East Coast of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, that mug you're looking at is Walter Sterling. He does a radio program Sunday nights. May I be on a station near you, okay? How do I know it's near you? Well, get paranoid about that, but I have spies, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, and it's good to see you again, Walter.
Alex, I love being on your show because you invented the Zoom meeting years ago.
Well, it wasn't Zoom at the time. I did what I call the citizen panel, which has become somewhat irrelevant in that it's nothing unusual having more than one person talking to one person on a talk show. So, you know.
You invented it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I did.
You did.
Yeah, I also invented a lot of other things, but I never get credit for them.
You never get patents for them.
Well, yeah, I created the first podcast.
Right, and that was the patent you needed.
Yeah, that was the one I needed. But to me, I was just doing it because I was out of work and I wanted people to somehow have access to me, so I came up with a way. Oh, and the reason I invented the podcast was with someone else. He created a program called Auto Alex, and you put it on your computer, and then what it would do is once a day it would go to my feed and see if it was a new one and download it to your computer, so when you got home it was there. Does that sound like anything to you?
It sounds like $1 billion idea.
Yeah. Well, we just thought it was a matter of necessity at the time, and I actually have the program here still. If nobody believes me, so
I believe you.
We basically invented the podcasting, you know, where it automatically downloads a show to you and you get to hear it. But anyway, enough about bragging about me. You live in Cleveland, Ohio.
I live in Shaker Heights, Ohio, which is very different.
Oh, okay.
It's like the difference between Short Hills and Newark.
Oh, okay. Whatever that is.
Interesting thing about Cleveland, Ohio,
is
that in 1950 it was a 1 million population city, which was very unusual. There were very few of them.
Yeah.
And it was about market number 12.
Yeah.
Today it has 300,000 people and is market 33.
Wow.
And today it would not get what it has, which is 3 major league ball teams. It has baseball, football, basketball. Wow. There's no way in heck it would get those franchises with only 300,000 citizens.
Yeah.
But there they are. And those are the largest structures in Cleveland, the stadiums for those teams. There's nothing bigger than those buildings. And it's a tragedy because people do not live in the city of Cleveland because there's nothing there. It's an empty center. It's a donut. There's nothing there. If you walk down the biggest street in Cleveland, the widest boulevard in Cleveland, at noon, you will not run into anybody. Nobody. At noon on a Wednesday, you won't run into anybody because no one lives downtown.
Yeah, I know. I've been there. I was there in recent years, and I was amazed how empty that old area was.
Then you walk out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is downtown Cleveland, and you will run into nobody. And then the first ring of housing is government housing. It is government subsidized housing that is dangerous, poorly maintained, ugly as hell.
Right.
The next ring is where the wealthy suburbs are. And the wealthy suburbs were created for Ford, the oil refineries, the oil companies, the railroad companies, which used to have Cleveland as a hub. And it was vital. And that was all built in the 50s. There hasn't been a new house built in the Cleveland area since the 50s. So nobody lives in Cleveland. And when anybody ever says to me, well, you know, I'm from Cleveland, I look at them and I go, no, you're not. Where are you really from? Well, I'm from Cleveland. I said, where are you really from? And they go, well, you know, I'm from Beechwood or Cleveland Heights or Shaker Heights. I said, that's right.
Yeah, see? different. So anyway, Walter is in the radio business, as was I. And how is it affecting the radio business? I mean, I know that income is down.
Well, iHeart's income is down by half.
Really?
And the others are down by about a third.
Whoa.
Because radio's income is 100% dependent on local retail advertising. And if no stores are open, there's no advertising.
And so that's what's happened to iHeart.
Yep.
Yep. Well, gee, they've got my podcast on iHeart. I have no idea why it isn't more popular.
It's a good question.
Yes, because that should be making them a fortune.
A fortune.
Yeah. And the rest are down a third. So how does that affect the working people? What are left in the radio business? Because
half of them are furloughed.
Yeah.
Half of them are fired.
Really?
Yeah. So they're all on skeleton staff.
So what are they doing for programming? Are they just running programs in from other cities and things like that?
It's all on computer. It's all run on automated computers. You could listen to some stations by some of these companies, and there is no local talent, no one in the building. There's no one in the building.
Well, didn't they just pass a law that you didn't have to actually have an office in the city you've got the transmitter or something?
There was a time when you got in the business.
Yeah.
And when I got in the business.
Yeah.
So very recently.
When there was a business. Yeah.
When you had to be within a certain length from the post office. You had to have your facility a certain distance from the post office in order to meet FCC requirements. That was eliminated. And when that was eliminated, hundreds of people lost their jobs because they didn't need to maintain a building.
Well, yeah, they used to have to maintain offices in the city in which the transmitter was located, or reasonably within where, because like the transmitter for WMCA wasn't in New York City, it was in New Jersey. But nevertheless, you had that transmitter and they had to have an office from which they broadcast. Now they're saying you don't even have to have that, which means all these people can have their transmitters around the country with a line going to those transmitters, and then they just feed them the signal. And that's it. They don't have to have an office in that town. Ergo, they don't have to hire a staff. They don't have to hire people. And broadcasters are out of work.
If you have a general popular music station, adult contemporary, there is in fact, and I'm speaking as a programmer, there is in fact no reason to have local talent at those stations. You could do it with one set of talent and one playlist, and I'll tell you how scary that gets. On Sirius, for a long time, you could get KISS FM in Los Angeles and Z100, and they were next to each other, like channel 13 and 14. And you could listen to Z100 and KISS FM in Los Angeles live on Sirius. And I started doing this. I started to listen to KISS, then Z100, listen to KISS, then Z100. And you know what? They were not only following the same playlist, they were following it in the same order. So if you heard a song on KISS, you went to Z100, you would hear it next.
Wow.
That's how it became, because those were computer-generated playlists.
And thus becomes the end of the radio as we knew it. I mean, I realize that I am a dinosaur. You know, that the reason I went into radio and the kind of radio I went in for doesn't exist anymore.
Drips and drabs.
A little bit here, a little bit there. Huh?
There's no reason it can't. When not only was it hyper-local when you and I went into it, but it was proud to be, and it was a social gestalt that it had to be. There was nothing harder in the 70s and 80s than to convince a radio station to take a network show, than to take a syndicate, because their first thing they'd say is, we're local, we're 100% local. That was the first thing they'd say. But the fact is that when it was deconstructed, they weren't as local as they should have been. So syndicators used to say, you're 100% local. Yes, we are. We're very proud of it. Well, pick an hour, like from noon to 1. What did your disc jockey say today that was local in any way? And then you'd sit down and listen to an air check, and they hadn't said a damn thing.
Right. Well,
So-
there was also another element. You know, when I started out being a disc jockey and then a talk show host, the idea was you were doing a show, or as I call it, a program, and that your job was to entertain.
Yeah.
And there's no sense of that anymore in radio. I mean, it's play one record after another and try and sound like you're entertaining in between, but they're not.
The other thing that happened is that on-air talents' salaries have been consistently cut.
Mm-hmm.
And the money for content is now on the internet. It's digital content on multiple sites where they're paying big bucks. And more importantly, those digital sites are paying their salespeople huge bucks. So if you're a good seller and you look at what you could earn at a radio station or a radio network versus what you could earn at an internet site, you're going to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So all the money is at the internet because the internet sites, the digital sites, have dumb money, which means they don't have to prove it does any good.
Right.
Whereas at a radio or TV station now, to this day, they have to prove it's going to do some good.
Mm-hmm.
The digital companies, they're sitting there designed to throw away money. That's what they're doing. To earn a position, to get a position. And hundreds of thousands of people, talent and sellers, are benefiting from that.
Oh, boy. You know, it's just, you know, so, I mean, I realized, you know, a while back, when I turned 80, I said, that's it. You know, I said, I've got to realize that I'm never going to be doing radio again. But then again, there is no radio, really. I mean, you said you're on WABC here in New York with a guy who isn't really in it to make a buck. And,
Right.
and so he's trying to revive what radio does, and that's
Right.
terrific, you know. But I'm still probably even too old for him. You know, I mean, it's weird. It's very weird, and it's a strange feeling because it's a business I've been in all my life. So here I sit here doing this little dog and pony show with a relatively small audience, although it's larger than a lot of people get with podcasts. And that's it. You know, that's the only reason I do it is to keep my chops up. Yeah. So anyway. It's sad.
If
what's
you
happening.
had a radio job,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be miserable
Yes,
because you would be critiqued on criteria you didn't understand,
yeah,
and you would you'd be being critiqued by people you didn't respect.
yeah, and I'd be critiqued by people who don't ask the big question: were you entertaining today?
And the big issue is, you don't need it. You have this body of work that's unquestionable.
Yeah.
You've accomplished things that people can only imagine,
Mm-hmm.
and you have worked at radio stations that most people cannot get tours of.
You're right. You're right.
And,
I mean,
and
you
you
know,
worked at Sirius,
Mhm.
which everybody begs to work out, longer than anybody else.
well, not longer than anybody else now, but longer than anybody else then.
But that's an amazing achievement.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
that's good. Okay, so that's enough.
Yeah, I guess. Well, look, I'm not sitting around here griping about my career.
Yes, you are.
No, well, I guess I am. Well, no, because I like to perform. I like to have my stage, you know, and I have it, but I don't have it. I mean, I don't consider, I'm competing, as you so nicely surmised once, I'm competing against some young girl giving makeup tips,
Yes.
you know, and she's getting 1 million listeners and I'm getting a couple of hundred. You know,
Yes.
how do you compete with that? I guess I better give out makeup tips. You know,
But guess what? In a few years,
yeah,
a variety of FTC and SEC rules are going to come down and put her out of business.
you think so?
Yes. And then she's going to be going, oh, but I had this audience. I had this great, I love doing this. I can't do this anymore. What do I do?
Well, I don't know.
So that's the deal.
Yeah. What do
And,
you do? Run for president.
And just think about all the, and it evolves. But think about like all the Foley guys in network radio sitting around complaining.
Foley guys. They were the guys that did the sound effects.
Yeah, think about those guys.
Hey, listen, we've run out of time again.
I'm sorry.
When we're having fun, isn't it amazing?
We're having entertaining radio.
We're having entertaining radio, and no person more entertaining.
But let me tell you something.
Yeah.
When the revolution came in July and June, all I could think about was how you sounded on WMCA in late 1969.
Yeah.
And your anger, and how you played When the Revolution Comes, and All the Tired Horses by Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
And it was the most compelling radio anybody ever heard, including Howard Stern has said that was the most compelling radio anybody ever heard.
He said that?
He said that more than once.
Never told me.
He was on the air. You were supposed to be listening.
Oh, I see. Ladies and gentlemen, that face is Walter Sterling, and he is on your radio on Sunday nights, 10 o'clock Eastern, on a station near you. There are a lot of them. Anyway, thank you, Walter. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex. Always an honor to be with you.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hello, everybody. How are you? Yes, okay. I had the sound a little low there for a moment because I don't know how to think ahead any longer on the show on what I need to do and what I don't need to do. Anyway, hello everybody. We're there. The people are starting to coming online, and I'm laughing because of what somebody just called themselves. We are on Zoom. We do Zoom. Why? Because the rest of the world does it, and also because we found that up until now it's the best system we've found. We were using Skype for the longest time, but Skype has its problems, and it's not as simple for an average person to use. For all of you out there, all you got to do, go to gabnet.net, and on that page, on the right-hand side column, middle, there is a thing that says if you want to talk to us, just click here to Zoom. And you click there, and it literally, even if you don't have Zoom installed on your computer, will take you to our show and make you part of the citizen panel, which is a group of people talking together. Boy, I have a headache now. What is this? Boy, it's one thing after another. I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of getting old. Anyway, it's time now to have some people admitted to our panel, and look who we have already. We have Bob, Robert Natali, and 74 Days to Vote. That's Brian, and of course we've got Josh Wheeler. Hello to all of you. How are you this fine evening?
Good evening.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Are you? Your house isn't on fire yet, Brian?
No, actually, it's cleared up a little bit over here, but there's another small fire that came up. But yeah, the other side of the bay is hitting it really hard, though.
Wow.
So Santa Cruz Mountains up over that way. I have a couple of friends that live up there. I know one guy lost his house, and yes, I know a few guys from cars up there. So it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Let me say something. I've been getting a lot of complaints about the chat room that accompanies this program, which I really don't have anything to do with. I hardly ever look at it. And I've been thinking about doing away with it because there's a lot of complaints about certain trolls on the chat room that are making racist remarks and so on. Yeah. And
don't censor, Alex.
Well, I'm thinking of doing it. It isn't a matter of censoring it. It's a matter of doing away with it. Then I don't have to censor it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's up to the people who are doing it. There's a couple of people who are very much trolls. And I don't see any value in it, to be very honest with you. I noticed Bree is on it from time to time, so I guess you
Oh, and Ray is on there too, and Charlie.
Yeah. Charlie.
Yeah, but Charlie, you wouldn't break your heart if I stopped the chat room, would it?
Oh,
Well, I
and
mean, it wouldn't break my heart, but I don't really see that there's a reason to. I haven't seen any races in Mark.
Wait a minute, hold on. What is that? What is that? Is that some kind of noise coming from somewhere? Yeah. Okay.
Was it coming when I was talking?
No.
No. While you were talking, it was on. What is Bree doing?
I think it's doing the yard work.
Yeah.
I'm trying to grow some sunflower. Well, I have wheatgrass here,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to grow some sunflowers over here, but something keeps eating it.
Well, would you pay?
And
if you're calling the show, call to be a participant, not to be a gardener.
I'm participating, Alex. I'm not always talking. If you call me or if there's a topic, I'll come up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I want to be productive. I mean, everybody's just sitting there. That's how we get cancer.
But it is, I think, a little distracted to the viewer to have somebody in one of these panels kind of moving around and doing stuff like that.
Multitasking.
Yeah. Well, multitasking. Yeah. Right. It's kind of. I almost sometimes mind it when like Ray used to call and be walking down the street, and it's nice up to a point. It's nice that we see that you're in Kuala Lumpur and you're doing your gardening, and maybe you'll have some lovely herbs in a few weeks.
I've got some now.
But it's not. It's kind of jarring, as it were.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, not for your younger audiences. They're used to it.
Oh yeah. You're the person who tells.
I represent the younger
young
demographic, and we like to do things, see things. Yeah. It's interesting.
How old are you?
Okay, now Alex, let me ask you this.
How old are you? Wait a minute. How old are you?
Old enough to know better, young enough still to try. It's not the years in your life that count so much as the life in your years. Mm-hmm. But Alex, what if one of the participants had a camera on their bedroom and they were engaged in carnal activities? Would you tell them they can't be part of the show?
That's right.
Midnight Blue.
But Midnight Blue, we never had people having sex on the show.
Well,
no, I would completely block them because that is against the rules and regulations of YouTube, and I would be taken off. And why should I jeopardize my show because somebody wants to fuck on screen?
Not necessarily.
Yes.
If you look up Korean dramas, 18 plus.
I don't care. I don't care what you say, Bree. I know what it's all about. I deal with it all the time. I deal with these letters from YouTube and so on when something goes on, and demonetization and one thing and another, and I don't need it. Why should I have to do that?
Alex,
did you want to see two people having sex on Zoom? Yeah, what?
We need Zoom for that.
What did you say?
I just passed over 10 million views on Google Photos.
Good.
Alex, what was Walter talking about? He was talking about that what's his name? Howard Stern was complimenting you on some radio stuff you did back then.
Yeah. According to him, I mean, Walter knows Howard quite well. That Howard has said that I had of course, I know I had an influence on him, but he
was talking about some certain talks you were talking about.
Yeah, it was something I did way back when I was at WMCA and Kent State had taken place. You know what I'm talking about, Robert? And I talked very passionately about the situation, and Walter has always said to me what an influence that was on him, and made him see the possibilities of radio and so on. And then he said Howard also said the same thing to him, that it was very important to his growing up, and that's nice to know. I just wish Howard hadn't gone around telling everybody I stole my act from him. That kind of shit. If he'd said that, it might have helped me a little bit. But anyway, hi Phil.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, how you doing?
Bag number 1. Bag number 2.
Oh, you got another bag.
Brian, I didn't know you were a bag man.
Yeah, that's people have been putting bags, or the post office, I guess, has been putting bags over their over one of the 2 post office boxes in his neighborhood, and he takes them off. And
did anybody hear DeJoy, his testimony today?
yeah, mm-hmm.
I saw a few minutes of it.
I know, and you thought he was terrific.
No, the only ones I saw ask him questions were who's the guy from Tennessee? His father was a senator.
Rand Paul.
Rand Paul, yeah, he got beat up by his neighbor.
I didn't see him asking that many questions.
But I still don't understand all this. I truly don't understand. Is Trump trying to get some bargaining power?
Hey, what happened today is I saw the Joy kind of got a stutter, you know. But that was about it. I didn't get much from the conversation. I only saw a small.
I saw a guy who was really worried about being there.
Yeah, there are people that stutter because they have a stuttering problem, and there are people that stuttering when they lie.
Well, no, he said, hey, I've been here 60 days, and I'm trying to.
Biden can help him with that stutter.
Really. She was trying to turn it into a more profitable, or have it lose less money.
That's not the point. He thinks that he's going to treat the post office like you treat a business, and you can't do that. It's
but
not,
it is a business.
No, Phil, it's not a business.
Look,
it is
it's
not
a public
business.
service.
It is
in 2006.
It's a public service.
In 2006,
it's a public service, Phil.
In 2006,
I don't care what it did. The post office should be able to lose money and still get money from the government to support it, okay? Because we have a lot of programs that lose money, and there are government stipends to save them because they do a public service. You don't seem to understand what the post office is, Phil.
I guess we'll have a GoFundMe for the post office.
No.
And this way, Bannon can rip it off.
Yeah.
He's going to need it for his legal defense.
You mean the guy that Trump doesn't know?
Yeah.
The guy that Trump fired.
Took a picture with him once.
Did you hear the latest about the dude, about the yacht that he was caught on, the guy that owns that? He's like wanted in China. He's like, he's a bigger scam artist than Bannon.
What dude is that?
He's a Chinese guy. He's a Chinese fugitive, a billionaire, young guy. He's involved in all kinds of scams. Now he's getting into scams with Biden. I mean, with Bannon.
I think you mean the Malaysian Chinese.
Yeah, what if the guy that owns the fucking yacht that they caught Bannon on?
That's a monkey business?
He's actually Malaysian. He's from this country here.
Yeah, well, he's a wanted fugitive in China.
Everybody's a fugitive in China.
No, not everybody's a fugitive in China.
Okay, so if you belong to the Politburo, you're
no.
good.
I have many people I know who work with my wife who live in China, and they're not a member of the Communist Party, and they're not having trouble getting in and out of the country at all.
He's also involved. There's an active investigation with the FBI against him too, which might ensnare Bannon as well. And the speculation now that I've been reading is Bannon might have some dirt on Trump, and they might have some leverage with.
I'll tell you, every day that goes by, I'm beginning to think that Putin does have some pee-pee pictures.
Yeah.
Because he just doesn't ever take Putin to task. I mean, now a reporter, a critic of the government, has been poisoned in Russia. And he doesn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he loves to hang out and praise dictators and let them get away with stuff. He let the Saudis get away with Khashoggi. He lets Putin get away with poisoning reporters. He lets a lot of people, and then his good pal in North Korea. Boy, how did that work out for him?
Now, Khashoggi was a reporter. This guy in Russia was a reporter. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe there's a connection there.
What do you mean there is a connection? They all happen to be people who are critical of their governments.
Yeah, working for the fake news, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
It was fake news. Why did they have to kill him?
It's one way to get rid of the fake news.
Yeah.
And he just drank some tea. It disagreed with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see those doctors? They looked scared straight when they said that.
Charlie, didn't you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, but they went on to Bannon. I was going to talk about DeJoy.
Yeah, well, go ahead. Talk
Go
about
ahead.
DeJoy.
That's all.
Well, DeJoy says he's trying to improve the post office, but how does it improve the post office and make it more profitable if you take away a machine that processes 30,000 items per minute per hour, and then you're going to replace it with a guy?
Yeah.
Well, also remember one other thing about those machines. They've been destroyed. They've been destroyed.
Yeah.
They were not
Really?
just taken out of service. They were destroyed.
How old were those machines? Does
They were
anybody
not
have-
very old. They are
They're
modern
not- and
machines.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
How many workers have come out and said details?
Thanks, Bree.
Yeah. How many postal employees have come out and made reported about all the mail that's being left on the floor?
That's a interesting question.
They're still taking machines out of service.
I know, but have any?
It's unbelievable. It's
By the way,
basically
for
okay.
Georgia-
So he can say the election is fraudulent. It's rigged because they can't count all the ballots. Is that right? Only the
that's what he
ballots
wants
that
to
are
do.
for him.
Yeah.
If it's for Trump, it counts.
Yeah.
If it's for Biden, throw it out or you lose your job.
Exactly.
Did I get that right?
Something like that, yeah. But no,
Okay.
but the thing is that I talked to our postal guy here, and he said, no, they took those machines out. He said, we can't put them back in. They're destroyed. They dismantled them.
Yeah.
So did DeJoy give a plan as to what his what is?
Let me put it this way, Phil. Let me put it in a very nice way. He dismantled the machine you and I paid for.
Yes, but does he have a plan to put the post office to be more profitable? And what he said was he wanted the services to be better. He didn't want to cut out Saturday service.
He does have the
Why
same
the
plan that
post
Trump has
office?
for,
Well,
to
let-
replace
let-
Obamacare with.
What'd you say? Oh, wait, hold on a second, Phil.
Seriously, the guy
Please,
was-
Phil, let Rob talk, please. I can't hear what he's saying because you're jumping over him.
I just said that he has the exact same plan that Trump has for replacing Obamacare. That's the plan. Nothing.
No plan.
You know, the
Plan.
guy testified in front of the Senate today, and I was just wondering if anybody heard anything that was positive. You're going to sit there and be negative, you know.
Well, they were all he did was give excuses.
What did he say without your interpretation?
Excuses on why he was doing what he was doing.
And why did he say what he was doing?
He was trying to make the post office more efficient. How do you make it more efficient? By taking machines out of service.
So did he say that he had a plan?
How do you make anything more work better by taking away the very machines you need to make them work?
If you're using a buggy whip instead of an
These
engine,
weren't buggy whips, Phil. These were machines that were maybe 5 years old.
He's
well,
going
they were a
backwards, Phil.
problem. I don't know.
He's
I'm
getting rid of the machine and replacing them with buggy
I'm
whips.
saying I talked to my postman, and he said they weren't a problem.
I see. So your postman has the answer.
Well, he
Okay.
certainly has more answers than you do because he works for the post
the
office.
Well, hey, I've been to the post. I went to the post office today and mailed a package. So there.
Okay, so make a joke and not answer the
I asked
argument.
the question. I saw only a couple of minutes.
Calm down. There are other people here. There are other people here. Josh, did you see any of it at all?
What's that?
Did you see any of it at all? The postmaster general.
Really?
I had when I turned the television on, it was on C-SPAN when I came home, and it was on, and I heard maybe 4 or 5 minutes while I was doing something before I changed the channel. But I had a really busy day today, so I didn't hear in person any of the testimony. No.
That's most people. Most people are just trying to get through their life, you know, trying to do their job. We trust that the guy on top is doing his. And it's a shame when we can't.
Very point well taken. Yeah, yeah. You know, I mean, I just, you know, I just think that forget about any political things about doing this to the post office. What he did to the post office was absolutely weird, and it was uncalled for. And he should have asked somebody, "Can I do this?" He just went in. He's only been in there a couple of months. Went in and just started dismantling for the sake of dismantling.
Taking apart machines are very much easier than putting them back together. That's for sure.
Well, they're not going to be able to put them back together. From what I've heard, they've been destroyed.
A machine in New Hampshire which had only one such machine in the whole state.
Oh my God!
I failed to see how you can say that improves their efficiency.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Trump's had a plug
this
up
is
his
setting
ass.
up for the election, right? This is setting it up.
And this guy has never had. This guy has never had any experience with the Postal Service. He ran a second-rate parcel service, and that's about all his qualifications were. And because he is a what do you call it? An acting Postmaster General, and never has gone before a committee to be approved as Postmaster General. His job is very tenuous at best, and anytime, I mean, the thing is, there are more acting people in this government than have ever been in any other administration, because Trump wants to feel he can fire them at a moment's notice,
and he can put who he wants there.
Yeah, exactly.
Without approval.
Without the approval.
Yeah, you have to do his bidding, or else you're gone.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's how I think he wins the election.
Or you're a Fox
He
News
can win the
troll.
election.
I mean, this guy shouldn't go around dismantling equipment and so on when he hasn't even been approved by the Senate or by
He
the
should go
Congress.
to prison. He
Huh?
should go to prison if it's proven that he's.
Well, it's it's.
I would agree.
It's
Go to
Slow it
prison.
down the
That's-
mail.
Yeah,
He's
this is the
fucking
U.S.
with the
Postal
US
Service.
mail. Exactly.
If we go into a mailbox and take somebody else's mail, we go to jail.
Exactly.
I mean, this everybody knows that that's serious. They mean it. I mean, it's in movies.
Brian's
like The Firm, Tom Cruise.
Brian,
You know what? If
Get
you,
him on mail fraud.
it's an offense if you go in. You know, if you're walking around, you can put a flyer on someone's door, but you're not allowed to put it in their mailbox.
That's right.
You're not to
Right.
fuck with the U.S. mail. And this acting.
That's all this guy's doing.
Yep.
It's all he's
They
doing.
kept saying. Also, they kept saying thank you for your service to the guy.
Who did?
The
They
Republican.
kept saying that during the interview. Thank you for your service. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's not like he's a general.
I know.
They should have thanked you, Brian.
But you see, thanking him for his service means that it's a public service.
You know, I mean, Brian.
Article one.
Brian was worried about perhaps getting in trouble for removing what the post office had put over the post box by taking away the covering, so that it could be used again. And he's worried about getting in trouble for that. And this guy shouldn't get in trouble for destroying U.S. property?
Yes, Brian Neary. Yes,
And I'm-
officer. Brian has the evidence in his studio. He destroyed public property. Let's get Brian.
No,
You know what I'm worried
Well, he
about?
didn't
I,
destroy
I
it.
have to give my poop sample. I'm waiting until Monday
They
now
will.
because I want to make sure I have consecutive days of mail. I was worried about doing it today, and then Saturday may sit, Sunday may sit, then Monday. I need my poop to be good for my doctor.
Brian has decreed
I will
to
say
deliver
now,
them
Brian,
next week.
if anything happens, I will contribute to your GoFundMe.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we will all be out here defending you,
Yes.
Thanks.
you know.
It's probably not the post office that put those bags over there on them anyway. It's probably like Trump trolls.
No, I don't think so. I don't think
No.
so. I think that that was their way of saying we only have one post office box here now, not
They
two.
used a lot of tape. And did you notice if you go to the post office and you need them to tape up something, they spare no expense when it comes to putting the tape on the package?
Yeah. Yes, Charlie.
Yeah, I saw a report today that the memo came down that postal employees are forbidden to speak to the press.
That's right.
Wow. Some of the postal employees were saying that they were told that they took those boxes away and they were going to redistribute them other places. That's what they were told initially, and then they all sat and they all locked them all up.
That's what Biden said when he was going to defund the police. He says, "No, I'm just going to redistribute the money."
Phil, stop it. Just stop it.
It's very clear.
You're not discussing. You're
we all know.
What?
But you see, when we talk about the specifics, then we go down into the mud. You don't have to go into the mud. You can see it from above. You can call it for what it is, and we know what it is. But what are we going to do about it? What are people going to do about it? Okay, then Trump wins.
Well,
then Trump wins.
His ass out. Well,
he controls the people who control the vote.
And how do you redistribute post office boxes? I mean, if you take them, there's one on a corner as a convenience to that neighborhood. You remove it, and they got to walk 3 blocks to go to the closest mailbox. How is that redistributing them? You know, how is that even? You're not even economizing by doing that. Yeah. It's not saving you any money by doing that.
Unless they have 2, like over here, and they take 1 away, you know, then they never bring it back. Now you only got 1. But
yeah, exactly. So,
country's in a bad way.
We are in bad shape, Rob. Absolutely.
Very scary.
It's very scary. Yeah.
And Americans are letting it happen.
Donald Trump.
This is what
Americans are letting it happen.
Folks, this is what you imagine in a banana republic. This is what you imagine in a third world nation in which dissent is stifled and the vote is taken away and it's made more difficult for people to vote. And that's what Trump is up to now, is trying to make it more difficult for people to vote, especially during a pandemic, giving reasons that are absolutely fallacious and without any kind of basis in fact. So, you know, I mean, here's a man who's trying to interrupt our ability to vote, and I don't like that, because he sees that if everybody in this country went out and voted, he hasn't got a chance of being president again.
And then he says last night, well, I heard this yesterday. It wasn't last night. I heard it last night. But he said straight to the press, if Biden wins, it's a fixed election.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
You know what I heard today? I heard him actually say the following. He said, if Biden is president, he will increase your taxes 4 times.
Yeah, bullshit.
Wait a minute. Let me think about this. What is the current tax rate? Something like 25%? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 4 times would be 100% of your
100%,
salary.
yeah.
Do you really think that Biden is going to tax 100% of your salary?
Sure.
No.
Sure.
You know. I mean, come on. It's those kind of tactics and those kind of statements which are, in fact, absolutely fallacious. You know, I mean, and to the Democrats' better nature, they're kind of avoiding these stupid fights with him about the things he says.
Yep.
You know, they're just trying to say, hey, look, this guy's not done a good job. You know, all you have to do is look at the job he's done.
Let him hang himself with his own stupid words.
By the way, I noticed Bree is sweating. It must be hot in Kuala Lumpur today. It is, yes.
By the way, the highest tax bracket is 37%. So
It's
4
very
times
hot.
that is over 150%.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not so hot. It's the humidity.
Oh, okay, yes.
Let me ask
It always-
Alexa, what is the temperature in Kuala Lumpur? Or I guess just here, I should say.
Right now, in Kuala Lumpur, it's 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Today, expect a high of 90 degrees.
Well,
Okay.
It's winter time
that's kind of
in Texas.
yeah. Robert, I mean, did you see the Postmaster General?
Yeah, parts of it, about as much as Josh said he did. I was sort of in and out on it. The thing that struck me was that they had actual documents in certain cases about not allowing for any overtime or any second deliveries. Meanwhile, DeJoy denied that was the case. And so at some point, it's pretty clear that the documents kind of make him out not telling the whole truth. So, but then, I mean, it wasn't anything I didn't expect, so it didn't shock me in any way.
Well, if
yeah,
you
they
know,
said the trucks,
Yeah.
the trucks that are leaving, they said sometimes those trucks would stay like 15 minutes for this whole batch to be done, and they can deliver that whole batch at once on the truck and the airplane. But they said no, they're going to leave on time. So that means if they're leaving, and if they would have waited 5 or 10 minutes for another batch to get done to deliver a full truck, they're just going to take off.
Yeah, yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is
That's why
deplorable.
it takes 2 weeks to get
Well,
medication there.
first, there is no large corporation seeking profit in the country that would ever ship anything less than truckload that wasn't absolutely necessary for an expedite. I mean, if we can put 44,000 pounds of paint on a trailer and we ship 36,000 pounds of paint on a trailer, someone at our distribution center calls and says, you know, what the fuck's wrong with you? You could have put a lot more stuff on here. What happened? I mean, we literally get a report that says how many trailers we short shipped a month, and we provide explanations as to why.
Well, you know, if the post office gets more inefficient because of DeJoy's actions, it's going to hurt their business with people like Amazon. And the people who are going to benefit from it are UPS and all the other people who are delivering on time. You know, maybe we should get UPS to deliver the votes. I don't know. You know?
Well, first of all, UPS and FedEx contract out the U.S. Postal Service to deliver a lot of their packages anyway. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that.
They're on record as saying that they can't do it.
I mean,
they're on record.
Well,
they
can't
use
do it.
them
They
quite
can't-
often. I mean, I'm waiting for a package to come tomorrow that was at the FedEx location at the local center here, and they're transferring it tomorrow, or actually tonight, to the U.S. Postal Service branch that delivers to me, and the post office will bring my package tomorrow with a FedEx tracking number.
Of all the packages, of all the packages,
You must live in the boonies.
Wait a minute, hold on.
They
a
call
second.
that last
Of
mile
all-
delivery.
Of all the packages that I've gotten this year, and believe me, I've gotten a lot of them because we've done a lot of Amazon shopping in order to not have to go outside. I would say only maybe 2 packages came USPS as the last mile. Okay,
I get it all the time.
You get it all the time.
I mean, it's fairly common.
You live in the sticks, Rob?
Yes.
Hey, did FedEx stop working with Amazon?
No.
No. Which of the delivery companies?
Yes,
But
FedEx stopped
FedEx did.
working with Amazon.
Yes,
That's right.
FedEx stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, Amazon's going to create its own system. Eventually, everything will be Amazon.
I think
and Taco
Amazon
Bell.
has. I think if I read it correctly, Amazon has nixed the idea of doing its own shipping.
Didn't they buy a whole bunch of
They're
electric?
doing it through drones.
They bought a whole bunch of electric trucks from this company that is like Tesla, but it's
They
not.
are doing in Manhattan.
You do not realize.
Rob,
You do not realize,
Yeah,
Alex. All restaurants in the future are Taco Bell.
Rob, in New York City, a lot of the deliveries from Amazon that my wife got at her office came by Amazon delivery.
In fact,
Yeah,
Alex,
Yeah.
in my area, all I see is Amazon vans, and Amazon just bought, right about 10 minutes from my house, they bought a big lot of land, and they're going to have a plant there because it's in Queens, and Queens is adjacent to Manhattan,
Well, I
Brooklyn.
know they're talking to Simon Properties about taking over big box stores and malls like J.C. Penney.
Yeah, they're already taking over the entire malls,
JC
the dead malls. Soon, Amazon will own everything. The guy is worth $1 trillion. Like he's going to be the first trillionaire. He will have everything. You know, all the backbone of the internet, all the like Netflix, it runs on Amazon services.
Well,
web services.
my what do you call it? My website, not website, but if you go to my Roku channel, all that stuff is being the data. A small amount of data. I don't even pay anything for it every month. It goes through AWS.
Oh, that's Amazon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, talking about trillions, did you hear that Apple reached a value of $2 trillion today?
Yep.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? You know.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. There is something that bothers me about the fact that these companies the pandemic has really enriched them.
Yeah.
And I don't see them giving anything back. You know, I mean, if we wanted to say that anybody was profiteering off the pandemic, you could make a good case that Apple's profiteering off the pandemic, that Amazon is, and so on. What?
But what does that mean? Are they, if they're not price gouging?
No, they're not price gouging.
So then there's nothing wrong with it.
But they're making a profit though off the pandemic. I mean,
but they're making profit on business.
Alex is uneasy about it. He's not saying legislate. Are you, Alex?
No, I'm not saying legislate, but I do feel uneasy about it, and the fact that it doesn't seem like they feel any necessity to give back on some level.
Well, you know what they are?
They need to be broken up. They're monopolies.
No, I don't think so. You know what they are giving back? They got to give back a split 4-for-1 to take their price that's going to be marketable, so the regular person could invest. Because they're splitting the 31st.
So the average person could invest, but I don't see that as giving back. That's taking more.
Well, they sure aren't paying taxes on those profits.
Well, you're paying taxes on your dividends, though. That you got to claim.
No.
Amazon
you're talking about the individual.
$0 in taxes.
I thought you were talking about Apple, though.
I'm talking about Apple. They're splitting 4-for-1 the 31st.
That really doesn't mean a thing in the end, though. It just takes the stock price and divides it by 4. That doesn't really.
Yeah, but it lets the regular person who could afford $500 a share.
Yeah, I understand, Tony, but Apple doesn't really give a shit about that. They've got the money either way. So if you can buy it or you can't buy it, somebody else has it.
They're not devaluing the price of their company. They're simply cutting their shares in a quarter, so that
the people to buy in.
So look at the opposite of that is Berkshire Hathaway. What's the price of a Berkshire Hathaway stock?
It's about.
I don't even know.
But I see. Wait a minute. I used to have it here, oddly enough, and
about 400,000, I think.
No, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'll tell you in a second here. Let me see here.
I was always wondering, like when Warren Buffett, when his wife passed away, I was like, wow, like they're gonna let her die. I think if you have a,
go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
If you have $1 trillion, like you think, like I just have this feeling, like Bezos and Zuckerberg, they're like they're investing in like Peter Thiel, like getting all the virgin blood and like dousing themselves in it so they can live longer. And harvesting organs and stuff.
If you wanted to buy,
I have a feeling they're gonna.
If you wanted to buy
you
a share,
complain about me.
Yeah.
Can I say something here? Berkshire Hathaway, a stock, is selling today. If you wanted to buy a share, for $311,126 and no cents.
Yep.
So that's one share. One share of Berkshire
I can take
Hathaway.
1/300,000th of that.
He's never split that stock ever.
No. There is a cheaper Berkshire Hathaway stock though that you can get for like $56 or something like that.
No,
but it's not
I think that one's still expensive too. It's like 3,000 or.
Yeah, it's about 3,000. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, but
shit ain't cheap.
What were you gonna say, John?
That shit ain't cheap.
No.
I do business with a Berkshire Hathaway company called Shaw Industries. And before Buffett bought it, it sucked. After Buffett bought it, it is the best supplier that anyone has in the floor covering industry. There's a different culture. Whatever he's doing it right,
He doesn't do anything to the companies. He lets them run them themselves. Yeah. He just buys them cheap.
Yes, but there's a different culture now.
Yeah.
And, it's.
They know they've got support. They've got financial backing. They've got benefits.
If you have Geico Insurance, you're dealing with Berkshire Hathaway. So,
Is Progressive Soros, George Soros? Progressive?
Don't scare me.
No.
I don't know. I have no idea.
It might be, yeah.
Yeah.
And that means
because it's called Progressive.
Yeah, but that means that Flo is, hawking for George Soros. And,
no, Soros doesn't own Progressive.
Who owns Progressive?
Probably some morons because they got the worst ads on television.
You don't like Flo?
Oh, they're terrible. I don't know who sits in a boardroom somewhere and says, "Listen, I got the next great ad for us."
I agree.
Flo's going to do karaoke.
What about the half man?
How about that?
So bad.
What about the half man, half motorcycle ads?
Oh yeah.
What the fuck is that?
What is that?
I have no idea.
I like when he rears up on the mountaintop there.
Everybody's trying to be witty like Geico, you know, and Geico does have great ads, you know.
I could do without the fucking emu too.
The emu? Oh, forget that. I don't know how they feel they're selling anything with Limu the emu.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah, that's so bad.
I once had an emu knock on my door when I lived in New York. I'm serious. I looked up and there was an emu there, and he was like pecking at his reflection in the door. And so I went out, and it turns out the guy down the street had a pet emu, and there was a backfire of a truck, and it got excited, and it jumped the fence. So I worked for the dog shelter at the time in Newburgh, and I had all these leashes. So we tried to put a leash around its neck. It would not go. So what I found was I got big brooms. If you hold big brooms out, like your arms are really big, and you go towards it, it'll go in the opposite direction. So I gave him 2 brooms and me 2 brooms, and we ushered it back into his pen. It's like a kilometer away.
Okay.
True story. True story.
Did he try? By the way, did the emu try to sell you insurance at all?
No, but he was pretty annoying.
No,
and the guy had tried to pick him up. He was wearing like really thick jeans. The emu's claws shredded his jeans, and he had cuts you wouldn't believe. I was like, dude, don't try to pick up the emu. Let's just try to corral him.
His name was Doug,
right? His name was what?
His name was Doug,
Karen,
right? Right. So anyway, I just, you know, getting back to the main premise of what I was saying, I just, you know, these people are making a lot of money off coronavirus. I mean, that's why the stock market has rebounded. It's rebounded as a result of those stocks. Literally making money off of the pandemic. You kind of nodded no, Robert.
Yeah, I don't buy your premise at all in this case. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't see where they're making money off of the virus. Right. It's not as though people say,
okay,
shit,
let's
the
say
virus is coming, I'm going to go buy a computer.
Okay, let's say as a result of the virus. How's that?
I still don't buy that at all. I just think they're doing business and people are still buying and whatever.
My online shopping has
increased.
My online shopping has increased greatly since the.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
mine is
That's how
way
they
up.
make their money.
Mine is super up.
Let Charlie talk. Let Charlie talk. Yes, Charlie.
That's how they're making money. I've ordered 10 times as much online through Amazon than I ordered last year because I don't want to leave the fucking house.
Well,
that's how they're making money.
I order from Lazada and Shopee. We don't have Amazon.
I agree with Robert. They're the right people in the right place at the right time. It was you can look at it as an opportunity, but they were just, you know, they were just standing in the right place.
John Larkin has his hand up. Yes, John.
They still made money due to the pandemic.
So what if that's going to be illegal, I don't want to
No,
live in.
I'm not
Nobody
saying
said it should be illegal.
Alex never
Well, I mean, but you almost
we
sound like you-
clarified that early.
But you almost sound like you sound almost like you resent it.
No. What I'm saying is, I just think it would be nice of these companies who have benefited from the COVID crisis, and they have benefited from it, okay, were to somehow find some way to give back in
But
one
you don't
way
know
or
that
another.
they do or they don't.
Well, I haven't heard of anything.
They
Well,
do a little bit. Mackenzie Bezos just gave out like $1 billion, and you know that's technically Amazon money.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, Charlie. And then John wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, the price of the stock and the stock market doesn't have a whole lot to do with how well the actual companies are doing.
That's right.
It's, you know, it's basically just guys on Wall Street, gamblers. You know, it's like a casino, and they're just running the price up and down and stuff. I mean, over a long period of time, your profitable companies will do well. But, you know, like Kodak, you know, the stock took off. It had no fundamental reason for doing that except for a bunch of, you know, got Sharpies going, hey, man, let's buy this stock and then dump it. You know?
No, what happened was they got a loan. They were going to get a loan, and a bunch of the executives did some pretty shady stuff, and screwed all of those people that could have been working up in Rochester and that area. They screwed those people. Kodak sucks, and I wouldn't buy their product.
You know who the worst is? That fucker that works for Trump, Peter Navarro. That scumbag was the one that was involved in the whole thing too.
It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault.
His fault. He was the one that fucking started the whole thing. He fucking started the whole thing. Read the Wall Street Journal.
It was a good thing, but they.
It wasn't. It was a scam. Okay. It was a total scam. It was a stock market manipulation, and he was involved in it, and he should go to jail for that.
Down here, Charlie's got his hand up. Down here.
Charlie's hand is permanently up.
Yeah.
Charlie. I've been trying to make this point. Rob said I act like I resent it. What I resent is the fact that Amazon had $11 fucking billion in profit last year and paid zero in taxes.
But that's got nothing to do.
That's got to change. That's got to change.
Of more profit. At least let them pay taxes on those.
I agree with you. That I agree with you. But I mean, when I heard Alex say that their people are making money on this, well, that's what business is all about. All the companies that sell PPE or whatever the hell it is, they're all making a shit ton of money. That's just the way. That's capitalism. There's nothing wrong with that. But I agree.
Did I ever mention that I hate capitalism?
Well, I don't.
I do.
Compassionate capitalism.
I do. The way it's practiced in this country, I think it's gotten to the point where it's turned into just unabated greed. If you can't have capitalism, but it should be modified. There should be a liberal amount of socialism in with that, and it's what's his name? Was it Chou En-lai who was the prime minister or the chairman of China years ago when he was being interviewed by Mike Wallace, and he opened up Hong Kong to commerce and things like that. He said, I thought you hated capitalism. He says, no, I don't hate capitalism. I like capitalism as long as it benefits everyone.
Well, that's
and
not
in
capitalism.
This country, capitalism doesn't benefit everyone.
But that's not the definition of capitalism. How can it benefit everyone?
Well, to me, the definition of capitalism, the way we practice it here, is pure and utter greed. But that's just
That's
me.
why I like Bill and Melinda Gates. I know a lot of people, say other things about them, but they do a lot of help, a lot of stuff with us for Africa, for tuberculosis. They put a lot of money back into areas that they don't need to.
God bless Bill and Melinda Gates. I mean, here's a guy who made the billions. He still makes the billions. He gives it away, and he still doesn't. He said, I'm going to give away, keep giving away, and keep giving away, and he's worth more today than the day he started giving money away. But he has spent his money in good works, and that's terrific.
Very
Kevin, you've been very quiet here. Anything to add to this?
Hey, Alex, what'd you have for breakfast this morning?
Well, I had bacon. That was it. Bacon.
Canadian bacon? That's just ham.
How are the fires, Kevin? How are the fires over there?
Oh, the fires suck. They're blowing up all over the place here.
Really?
They're getting closer.
To your place?
Yeah, well, not necessarily my place, but they're getting closer around. It's getting darker around here.
Big Basin is gone.
Big Basin, yeah.
That's so sad, man.
The hill down here. They're starting to creep into the county down here.
Here's a case where the fires were not started by an individual in a lit cigarette.
Except the one in Big Sur.
There is one in Big
down there. Set one.
There is one that was that way, but most of it is because of lightning. And I saw those pictures of lightning on the Golden Gate Bridge and on the Bay Bridge. I mean,
over 10,000 strikes in California, and we're supposed to get some more this weekend. They said.
Yeah. I mean, it's terrible. But you see, here's the thing. It's an interesting scientific thing. What do you do about fires that are started by lightning? Some people say you don't put them out because that's nature having its way, and that you need fires occasionally in forests to make new forests, because what it does is it makes the seeds pop out because of the heat and replant new trees. So there is a lot of times when they have these fires, they have to decide which ones are we going to put out. And which ones are we going to let burn?
That's your house is in the way.
Well, when they're in the way of a house, I think that's when we start to put out the fires. But there are other fires that you don't put out because you need to. It's a question of how we let nature have its way, and at the same time protect
There's
ourselves.
a lot of houses in the way of these. That's the problem.
Well, is it that we've
I'm
put
dealing with
houses
that right now?
Is it that we've put houses in places where we shouldn't be putting houses?
Probably.
Well, Alex, I'm dealing with that right now because I still got these civet cats. I caught 2 of the babies and gave them to the wildlife people, but the mother and one of the babies is still up there. They were making a lot of noise last night with some cat. I had to get the trap out again, and up there, and I got a camera. I'm gonna try to get rid of them, but you know, I'm sure that they were here first.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's really a question of how do you balance this kind of thing. And in the case of California, I mean, if they didn't build houses in every square inch where they have built them, maybe a lot of houses wouldn't be in trouble. I mean, it's a big question to ask yourself as to how much do you.
Yeah, a lot of the houses are built up in the Santa Cruz Mountains that are away from everybody else too. I mean, they decided I'm going to get away from people, and they go up into the mountains and they say, okay, I'm going to build my house here, and they clear some trees, and now they're up in the boonies.
Hey, didn't the guy from U2 try to do that?
What's that?
The Edge from U2. He tried to build up there.
Yeah, a lot of them do. I mean, you got the HP people and all that stuff up there too. And,
yeah.
You know.
Hey, the president tried to tell you guys should be sweeping your forest floors.
Yeah, did you hear that? The jackass, he started that shit again.
Did he start that shit again?
2 years ago, same thing.
Yeah. Well, while you're at it, have a good slug of Clorox. Yes, Jeff.
I heard him gaslighting today like no tomorrow.
We have like 500 people who live in the same area, and all these houses were built by the same company.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we have big animals out there that are natural animals. What can you say? Buffaloes and all this kind of crap that people don't expect these natural animals to live in, but they do, and they come by, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and with global warming also, the animals start coming down because there's no food up there. Things are drying out. They start coming down to the city.
What?
You go back to what Trump said, about the raking the leaves and all that shit. I mean, it's the same situation on the East Coast. You got a lot of foliage and everything else on the East Coast, but you guys get a lot of rain.
Yes.
So it gets dumped on a lot, and you don't have that situation out here. It's drier. We don't get rain all the time. So it gets dry, and you get a spark, and it starts a fire.
In fact, isn't California technically still in a drought?
Not really, but it's close. It's we don't get a lot of rain.
Yeah.
We get it in the rainy season, and it spits for a while, and then it goes away. But our typical summers and springs are, we get our green time, but it lasts for about 3 or 4 months, and then it's brown again.
In San Francisco today, I looked. They said it was drizzling.
From the fog.
It was from the fog. Yeah, the weather thing on my phone.
Yeah, when the marine layer comes in, that's what we get. But that lasts for about 3 or 4 hours in the morning, and it goes away.
But wasn't Newsom also saying that some of that money that they were using to clean out some of the forest areas was federal money, and they're being cut off by that too? Like 2 years ago when they were talking about
I want to quickly ask Rob, how's your brother doing?
He's doing well. He's been to a whole bunch of doctors.
Yeah.
He's very lucky. He's on a bunch of medications. He's going to have a surgical procedure in a couple of months to help regulate his heart. They scar it. They know how to scar the heart and do certain things to it so that AFib doesn't happen, and this way they could take him off blood thinners. I guess Robert sounds like he knows about that.
Yes, I had it.
Really?
I didn't have AFib. I had something called SVTs, which are just suddenly you get a tremendously rapid heartbeat.
No, they told you wrong, Robert. They told you wrong. It was STD.
Yeah, it must have been that Stormy Daniels night I spent.
Is that cardio thing for
it's called an ablation.
Yeah, does that work? That thing that they sell on TV for $89 or?
I don't know.
That's like a 6-hour procedure, and they say it's like 99 point whatever percent effective.
In my case, it was called an ablation. What they do is they go through your groin, just like if you were doing an angiogram. You're knocked out completely. And I woke up. I think it was only in my case about 3 hours. Yeah. And I walked home. I mean, I walked out of the place that same afternoon.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. You were out for 3 hours?
I was under, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was under for it. I mean, it's scary because they're tinkering with your heart, but the person that did it said they do like, 10 or 15 of these in this particular clinic a day.
Jesus.
And they're very effective.
Robert, I had an angioplasty that they went in through the groin, and there was no way I was going to be able to walk out of there.
I was fine.
Really?
That's what they told him.
What it does is they tell you, in my case anyway, you don't have a heart problem, you have an electrical problem.
Yeah.
That there's an electrical circuit between your heart and your brain that's gone wacky.
Right.
And they can locate that center in the heart, and they actually, as you said, Rob, they burn it.
Yeah.
And in effect, what it does is it renders it, not usable, and your heart actually rewires the signaling. It's really remarkable. 20 years ago, I don't know.
So can his brother look forward to a complete recovery with this?
Well, they told him it'll get him off blood thinners, because right now the big thing is he could get another stroke. If your heart starts beating off in reverse, that's what caused his initial stroke. So because of that, he's on blood thinners and all that. They said that'll all go away. So
really,
yeah,
I had this too.
Oh, you had it?
Oh, you had it too.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, he's
everything.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Alex Bennett Hospital.
There you go.
The waiting room.
Yeah.
One other thing.
Well, wait a minute. We're listening to Jeff.
Robert, did you have this done by Boston Scientific Device?
Who?
Robert.
No, it was a device. There's no device involved.
There was no implant put in there to go
sir.
over?
No, none whatsoever.
My stent was Boston Scientific, but I was going to mention that there's a GoFundMe for Will Durst again. Now it reached their goal in a couple of hours, but they're still accepting donations.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
On his GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
You going to post it again, Alex?
No.
How's he doing?
What? He's not doing great.
No.
Yeah. No. No, I went through that once, Phil. I just don't. I think I've done my bit.
Okay, you raised a lot when you posted.
Yeah, I did, but I don't think I can go back to my my pool and get people to give again.
I don't know.
Did you hear that Bannon, when they did that GoFundMe, they were supposed to raise $1 billion, but they only raised like 23 million. So the GoFundMe said,
wait a minute, hold on a
okay,
second.
well, you got to pay the money back to those guys that donated it. So they real quickly set up some sham companies to, start diverting the money away. So
I don't think you get the money until it reaches the goal.
Right, that's why they couldn't get the money, but that's why they created.
I think you're wrong, Phil. I think they changed that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Technically, you can't get the money unless you hit the amount that you want, that you're supposed to get. But they formed some kind of sham companies and made a deal.
No, but I understand from what Will was doing that he got any money that came in. If he didn't reach his goal, they said he had a goal, and then when the goal was hit, they just stopped. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So then they said, okay, well, we reached our goal, but we could use a little more, so we're going to add another $15,000 to the goal. and so there was more money being put in there. You know, and I got on the bandwagon. I mean, I may do it again, but it's just I think I probably went to my well about as much as I could, because I did it for about a month on and off, you know, pushing it.
Well, they exceeded the 85,000. I think they're at 86.
Is this a new 85, a new bunch of money?
No,
or?
I think they're raising the old one a little bit more.
Oh, in other words, it's the old one plus. That's why when I saw 85,000, they raised 70 some odd thousand.
So they raised
initially.
it up to 85. They're at like 87.
Yeah, so
and,
they're
you know, for Michael Pritchard, when he had a heart attack, it was 100,000.
Yeah.
And you know,
but
and
he
they
was,
raised it right away.
yeah. Oh, well, you know, that money's going to go fast, you know.
Well,
But
I thought he had insurance.
if
but
folks, if you're watching us and you want to give, go to GoFundMe and look up Will Durst. Okay,
Yeah.
he's a very good comedian, and he's been a guest on this program. And you know, send him whatever you can. If it's $25, it's $25. If it's $100, it's $100.
yeah, he's given a lot to the Ramble, and by appearing as many times as he did, and would have probably continued if he didn't get sick.
Right, right. So Will Durst, D-U-R-S-T. Maybe I will put that up there just to over the weekend so people can give it a shot. You know, but
I forwarded it to you.
yeah, I know you did. But I tried to figure out what the 85,000 was, and I'm trying to figure out, was that the 85,000 with money that was added to the money they had already raised?
Yeah, because they started at 50, I think, and then they raised it to 60 or 65 and then to 85.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very expensive process. The guy had a stroke, a very debilitating stroke, took away from his ability to use one arm and one leg? Was that the other thing?
Sure.
Yeah. And speech. And he's a
speech?
yes.
I don't understand why the insurance doesn't pay for the rehabilitation. You know, that's.
He doesn't have insurance.
Oh, I thought he did.
No.
Isn't he over 65?
Yes.
He have Medicare?
Yes, he should have Medicare. Yeah, he probably does have Medicare.
Yeah.
But still, you know, you got that Medicare pays 80%.
Well,
and if you got to pay the other 20%, now it's costing you several $100,000 for your treatment.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to pay the rest of that. And usually a lot of people have supplemental insurance to take care of that.
Yeah.
But then a lot of people don't. And in the case of comedians, they can barely keep food on the table, you know?
But he was working a lot.
Yeah, but he still wasn't making a fortune, okay? Not enough money that I think they put away much of anything, you know? For years I was yelling and screaming that there should be a comedians union so that they could get together and have health insurance, not to negotiate
maybe like
better, not negotiate better money.
What about like a Robin Williams charity fund? Does he have anything?
No. Matter of fact, his house in Belvedere is up for sale, and they've had to lower the price again. It's been on the market for a long time, and it's down to $5.
Jay Leno could help him out.
Yeah, but Jay Leno knows Will Durst, so you know it doesn't really matter. And you can't ask people, hey, get Will Durst out of the dumps here, because
Willie Brown gave him $1,000 today.
Yeah, but he worked with Willie Brown.
I know.
You know, he worked with Willie Brown, and he and Willie had a relationship going. And Willie's got 1,000.
Oh yeah.
You know,
his girlfriend may be in the White House. His girlfriend may be in the White House.
His girlfriend of years ago.
Yeah, you know, old flame.
Old flame. No, they had a relationship. They make no bones about it. You know, he was her mentor. You know, I hope she learned all the good stuff from him and not the bad stuff. But you know,
he had plenty of bad.
Whatever. There is plenty of bad. Yeah. But anyway, so fires down in your area, Kevin. Life's pretty complacent where Josh lives.
The air quality in the East Bay, Napa, and those areas just absolutely awful.
Yeah.
It was a little better today than it was yesterday. Yesterday was.
And now here's Phil with the weather.
Yeah.
Josh, how's the COVID hitting your area?
About the same, I guess. I haven't noticed much change.
Yeah. Are people still stupid and not wearing masks, or are they more of them wearing masks?
I don't really go out much in public. I mean, I see it at my work because it's kind of mandated. I mean, there's a mandate, in the state. I think I see a lot of people wearing them.
And in your area, Rob, you don't have a huge impact there, right?
No, I think like I said, the entire county was 400 or something like that.
Yeah, and you're allowed to come to New York without having to report.
I thought you told me Virginia was on the list.
Oh, is Virginia on the list? I thought it came off the list.
That'd be great.
I don't know.
I got to get it because, see, I can't get in to see my mom if we're on the list.
Yeah. There was a big story today about a couple that wanted to get married and they couldn't have a reception because the governor said no more, 150 people are not allowed to have a reception. And they're complaining and yelling and screaming. What do you do about that? Do you call Cuomo a party pooper because he won't let you have 150 people have a party?
Colleges are breaking out.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Because those kids are stupid. Have you seen some of the pictures? Yeah.
Just call it a riot, and you'll be able to have the wedding.
Just call
I know
it a
at
riot.
West Virginia University, every single person gets a free test if you come back to campus. And you have to take a online course. It takes about a half an hour to 45 minutes. Pass quizzes, about how it's spread, what you have to do. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens.
Okay, yeah, your mic's breaking up a little bit. But anyway, so I've just never in my lifetime known us to have as many problems happening, and then you add to it hurricanes. And things like that.
And there's an asteroid coming.
There's an asteroid coming.
Asteroid. Yeah. November 3rd. It's going to hit the day before the election. They say 1 in 200 chance.
Yeah, right.
For years we've been watching disaster movies. Now finally we are one.
Yeah.
And then you add to that the political climate in the country, and it's where if we're going to solve these problems, nothing can get done. Because everybody's arguing with everybody else. And we're all sitting here.
You're right, Alex.
Huh?
You're absolutely right, Alex.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. We're all arguing with everyone.
Yeah. And
you think we could get anything done? I don't think Biden can get anything done. When I listen to the DNC, I'm like, pie in the sky, because Trump and everybody's he's going to have the 1/5 against him all the time pushing.
And why do we want a better world? We want a better world for her. Wait a minute. There she is. Yeah, we want a better world for her. There's Adrian. That happens to be Brian's youngest. And she loves, Brian, do you notice how she loves posing?
Yeah.
I think she wants to be a model.
Yeah, she wants to be a dancer.
A dancer?
Who's your favorite group?
I got a niece who's a dancer.
Who?
Black. I tell him.
Blackpink.
Yeah.
How you like that? Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Yeah. Anyway. Hey! That's it for tonight. Yes, Bree is going to dance us off. Robert, thank you. Thank you very much, Adrian, and thank your daddy for me as well, Brian. Josh, thank you. Charlie, always a pleasure. Bree, great to see you out working in the garden. Jeff, great to see you hearty and healthy from Connecticut. Phil Meyer, thank you so much. John, thank you for being with us, John Larkin. And Rob, I got to send you some copy. I need you to do some voiceovers for me.
Okay.
Okay. And Rob, Tony, we didn't hear much from you tonight, but good to have you here. And Kevin's been a little quiet, but I love all of you. I really have a good time with you. You make these hour and a halves fly by really fast for me. Hey, give a big wave goodbye, and I will give a big wave goodbye back at you. See, here I go, and there they go. That's have a nice weekend, everybody. Yeah, that's our panel for tonight. Boy, what a good one. Let's see here. It's the intersection next with Jack Bishop, and we'll be back again on Tuesday at 10:30 in the evening, Eastern Daylight Time, same station in life. And in the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her. And by the way, stay safe out there, and for crying out loud, wear a mask, will you? Bye-bye, everybody.